This is Paul from Real Talk. I am here with Ryan Gradney, who works with Kyle at the Primitive Predators Park. So we're going to go ahead and bring Ryan on to talk about his venomous snake collection and where he's come from and what his future plans are. So thank you, Ryan, for coming on. Really appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and I'll let you kind of give everybody your background and where you're at, and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, I was born and raised in Northern California. Growing up, I've always had a passion that was quickly an obsession for reptiles. I got my first snake on my 3rd birthday. A neighbor was actually walking over to my house and knew I had an affinity towards reptiles. Saw a garter snake on the ground, caught it, put it in the cage, and brought it to me. So it was kind of like an impulse reaction for them. We let that garter snake go though, because it was wild. My parents went and got me a corn snake, but it was immediate. Caught my first snake when I was 2, so I'd been into it for a little while. I've been working with venomous now for going on 10 years. In California, all exotics are pretty much banned. It's very hard to get permits over there. There's less than 10 people that are permit holders. And their requirements are a lot stricter. It usually ends up with people suing the state in order to get their permits, even after meeting all their requirements. So I got a lot of experience with rattlesnakes because I could keep native species. I had like 30 Western Diamondbacks. I kept Norpacks, Sopacks, bred them, had fun with that. And then in 2015 or 16, I forget the year, I got partnered up with Steve Angeli. He's a big time import exporter, venomous snake breeder. He was in Sacramento. So how I kind of got into more of my exotic snakes is I would drive 2.5 to 3 hours each way every Friday to go work with his collection. At the beginning, it was just cleaning his rat building and then doing some cage maintenance with his Gilas and Beatids, which he had like 200 of those. He's one of the largest breeders of Heloderm in the world.
Wow.
So I got real hands-on with those, showed me a lot of tricks, how to keep them, how to breed them. It was an awesome experience. And I was working with a lot of his venomous, like Gaboon Vipers, worked really good with Death Adders. He had pretty much all of his elapids were spitting cobras, except for he had a pair of Colette snakes that he bred. So got a lot of hands-on experience with spitting cobras. I did that for about a little over a year of every single Friday, waking up at 5:30 in the morning, driving 2.5 hours all the way to Sacramento, working all day there till after dark, 6, 7 o'clock, and then driving 2 to 3 hours back. And I did that for a year just with him. So I was very committed to getting my permits. In California, if I'd continued to do that, I would still be working on my permits. That probably would have taken me 5 to 6 years to get those.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'd been friends with Kyle for a few years. Up until me moving, which I did last year. But I've been friends with him for like 3 or 4 years. He was going on a trip and ended up having a layover in California. Picked him up from the airport or close to the airport. We had dinner, came back to my house, showed him the snake collection. Then I was showing him the area, just kind of, hanging out with a friend. And he mentioned, why not come down to Florida and try YouTube out, get that going. So 2 weeks later, I was on the road to Florida.
Nice.
I pretty much uprooted my entire life and left.
Wow. Well, that's it's only a risk, and I shouldn't say it's only a risk. It's always a risk, but if you don't do it at some point, you're never going to know. We packed up in 2014, 15 and moved down here to Florida and said, we're going to try something different. And, here we are today. And, I'm happy that we did. Blessed for the people that we've met, and it's been fantastic. So
no, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I knew I wanted to be in Florida. It was just kind of things got sped up a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna I kind of look at it as if I'd stayed where I wasn't really happy with the weather. I wasn't happy with the animals I could keep and not keep. And if I was 80 years old looking back and stayed in California, I would have regretted everything. I would have regretted that.
Yeah.
And so I said, forget this, I'm leaving, I'll be there.
Now in California, is there an hour requirement like there is here in Florida?
2,500 hours.
Okay.
It's 2 years full-time experience, and I believe you need all the hours within 2 of the last 3 or 4 years. It's something like ridiculous like that.
Okay.
But then even when you have the experience, you have to justify, you have to have a business for it. It's no personal pet permits. And everyone I've talked to has been like denied for their permits unless they came from having permits in another state. They just get denied and they have to sue the state. I mean, Steve spent a lot of money suing the state of California to get his permits.
Wow.
And he worked for Tom Crutchfield. That's who he got his hours with.
Okay. Okay. Now, you have a smaller collection right now, correct? You're kind of still in the growing phase, or
it's growing quickly.
okay.
In all honesty, when I moved down here, I was like, I want to get everything. I came down and I got permits for it all. So I was like, I want to get everything. And then it's grown very, very quickly. And now I'm like, okay, there's really only maybe one new species of venomous I want to add to the collection. And then I'm done for a while. I'm kind of like, I like where my collection's at. And I do have other visions with my reptile collection that I'm going to kind of start pivoting towards. But as far as venomous goes, like I got the Bushmasters, Mangshans, got a King Cobra, Inland Taipan. Like I kind of came down here and I came with a list. So I have it on my phone too, but I have a list of all the reptile species I want to keep. And I just started checking them off and going for the biggest ones first. And all I need left now is Gaboon Vipers, which are the easiest things.
Yeah, I was going to say, those seem to be the easiest ones.
And I haven't pulled the trigger on them because I've been like waiting to get captive born and bred. And everyone that breeds them every year didn't produce any this year. So I'm like, crap.
Yeah, that sucks. That does suck. So now with the collection that you have now, is that going to be part of what's open to the public?
Part of it, yeah.
So
it's a mixture of both. So the snake, like, one thing that we've had, I guess, not trouble with, but with people seeing the YouTube channel is they kind of like merge everything together, which it is. It's all like we all work together. The snakes is like more of like my passion stuff. So there's going to be some of that brought into the sanctuary. Like I want to put my anacondas on display. I know Kyle wants to bring in a lot of the snakes that I have. I basically said, hey, anything in my collection, we can put on display. I'll let people see it. There's a few things, like maybe one of the Mangshan Vipers. I think the female, I don't know if I want to put her on display. I kind of want to keep her off because I really want to breed them. So I might want to keep them off exhibit and not let them get bothered, because that's the snake species. If I can get breeding, I'm going to be stoked about. So everything else, I don't mind putting on display. In the sanctuary is very much a work in progress. So even though like we've all talked about it, and I think a lot of the snakes are going to be on display, it could change, and there could be like, instead of 20 exhibits, there could be 5 really badass big exhibits, and then we pick whichever snakes are going to go in there. There will be snakes, but like I said, it's evolving. We have no idea.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's and again, that's the fun part of building something from scratch. And obviously Kyle's done a ton of work, and man, it looks unbelievable. We can't wait to come down. So
his facility is bar none, like nothing touches it. And that's not just because I work there and he's one of my great friends. It's like the first time I came down to Florida and saw even the first facility, which is now going to be the sanctuary, I was like, holy crap, you're doing this on a level that like zoos can't touch, just because they don't have the resources or to dedicate towards specifically crocodilians. And then land space, where Kyle kind of brings all that together and he's doing like if you or I were to like win the lottery, and what would we do? He's like, that's what he's doing. And he's
and listen, I say this, I'll say this, I said this last night on the live feed with in reference to the free handling stuff. Ryan brings such a passion, or not Ryan, well, you do too, but Kyle brings such a passion to what he does. He can stand back and just say, look, and everybody gets it. And some of these other guys that are doing the free handling stuff, they have that passion too. They don't need to do that. They love their animals. They care for them. The care is perfect. It's just that one little piece. Why? You have the passion for it. You have everything behind it. Everybody always looks at me when I say, I'm against it. And they say, well, you like Steve Irwin. And it's like, yeah, you know what? When I was 20 some years old, absolutely. he was my idol and still is. But now I look back at it and I say, man, look at the things that we were teaching that generation coming up, that it's okay to do that. And, you know, I look at Kyle and how careful he is when he's working his stuff. And all I can think is, once you have that passion, you don't need anything else. You've opened yourself up for everybody to say, damn, you know, like, this guy's got it. And that's definitely what you guys are doing. It's unreal.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, there's definitely different levels to it. But I like, again, people you've touched on, anyone that is going to commit their lives to reptiles loves reptiles. No one's
yeah.
no one's committing themselves, or like Kyle, no one's committing all the resources committed to reptiles. I wouldn't commit 24 years of my entire life, and other guys on YouTube like Tyler, Chandler, Will, trying to think of any others, but they wouldn't commit their entire lives or every day of their current life to reptiles if they didn't genuinely love.
Because you're not getting rich doing this. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. Some of these guys that say that they're making all this money,
YouTube's a different beast. Definitely there are people
that's different. But I'm saying just keeping the animals in general.
For the most part, there's
very 1%, few.
1% is going to make money and going to make good money. The rest of the people are, it's just a passion. And so, like, when you see big collections where they're not making money, those people love reptiles. Those people love what they do. They like, it's not something you can just do and make money and be like, oh, I'm doing this for a business. Those people get weeded out so quick. Yeah.
And I can fall back to, you know, probably my mid 20s, you know, to my early 30s. And that's what we always drove and strive for is, hey, we want to make this into a business. I want to do this. But it just, now that I look back on that, I feel like it was just a big waste. You know, I just love the animals, and that's the best part. So
yeah.
Have you guys looked into taking care of your IND so that you could stock your own anti-venom at your facility just in case of emergencies?
No. I guess the blunt answer is no, we haven't yet.
Okay.
That's something that is going to be worked on. Haven't worked on it yet. There's a few species that we've talked about keeping that if we do keep, I'm going to want anti-venom on hand, i.e. like black mambas, like that. Those are on the radar. As soon as we get those, I do want anti-venom just because of how willing they are to bite. So I've heard, and then how quick they are, whereas compared to, like, I'm not down talking what I have, but for the most part, the species I have and specifically the animals I have are pretty mild. A mistake could happen. But again, I should knock on wood, but we haven't brought in anti-venom just because everything's still really new. I just passed my first year living in Florida.
Okay.
And I haven't even had my permit for a year. So there's still stuff we're building that is on the
no, for sure. I'm not asking to put you on the spot, but look into, you know, shoot Kristen Wiley a message. She has a full write-up of how to do it and what to do. So it kind of walks you through the process, which if you don't, it's when you start searching for all that stuff, it's daunting. Yeah. So she gives you, you know, the rundown on what exactly you have to do, because they all want to see, as the rest of us do, because I'll be in the process of doing mine here really soon. We're actually buying a house in a few months. So
congrats.
Yeah, thank you. So it's close to where we're at now. So when I was going to send all my venomous stuff in like 2 weeks ago, when I talked to my investigator and told him about the move and what would I have to do, he just explained to me, you know, if you send this in, by the time you get your paper permit, you're going to have to reapply again and pay the money again and start over. So I was like, okay, so I'm just not even going to bother. You know, it's not worth it. I can wait. It's no big deal. You know, I'm still building some, you know, doing some bioactive cages and some, you know, decorations and stuff inside them. So I can wait. It's not the end of the world.
No, totally.
But that's all of our plans. Everybody that's volunteered or interned at the RPI is, we're all doing the same thing. And, you know, it's that thing where once you start to open to the public and have that there, it's probably a good thing to have, you know, and you know, it's
open, we'll have it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to see where, you know, where you guys were sitting at. And, You said you were looking to get gaboon vipers. What are some of the other species of reptiles that you are looking for after you finish this part of the venomous stuff?
um, honestly, dude, like I've had a very good year in Florida
Okay.
when it comes to getting animals. So yeah, like I want to definitely get a pair of gaboon vipers, and then finish off the pairs of what I have. Like I need a male inland taipan because for my female. I like to get a male monocled cobra for my Sioux fan, but I don't know what I want to breed to her yet. So it's back burner.
Yeah.
And then I need to get a male Gyrico rattlesnake, a Piphanorum.
Okay.
We have a female of those, and like we have the blue purple phase, and they're
That's cool.
incredible. The more she ages, the more like cookies and cream and like purple, like where the white is, the purple's coming out.
Nice. Nice.
So it's a lot of like, those are only the 3 males I think I need. Everything else is paired up. I'm not going to breed king cobra, so I don't know if I'll get another king cobra or not. Maybe. Yeah. And then for venomous, dude, unless something crazy pops up, I mean, at this point, I'm kind of sticking towards more of the rare stuff. Like the last venomous I got were the Mangshans. So I want to do more obscure species of venomous and just like stuff that I'm really passionate about. Maybe Eastern green Mambas, and then obviously blacks for the sanctuary would be something that we'll do.
Yeah, I love the Easterns. The Cody has 2 males and a female, and they're green, but they have like a red outline in their scales when they move. Oh, dude, they're so cool. They're so cool, and they're probably out of all of them, they're the mellowest.
That's what I've heard. Because I've only
great.
had Jameson experience. I haven't worked with Easterns, blacks, or the Westerns, just the Jamesons, which I've told them the craziest. And the one I worked with,
they're nuts.
Yeah, it was a 5.5 foot male, and I had it in when I worked with it, it was in a small room, like 10 by 10, and it so the snake itself was half the length of the room, and that was a crazy freaking snake. I would like to work with the blacks and the Easterns, something a little bit more mellow. So I'm told.
So the Easterns are nice. It's funny because I think we've talked about this. You watch the videos and you see these black mambas stand up, their mouths are open, their hoods are, their necks are flat, they're hissing, they're going crazy. I've never seen that. And
that's what I've heard from a lot of keepers is like everyone I've talked to, like you, I talked to Cody when we were at Croc Fest, and I've talked to a few people I know back in the Midwest that have blacks, and like, dude, the blacks are the most mellow. Like they're just chill.
So when you feed a cobra, they're crazy. They grab it, they throw it around. They're all over the place.
You always think cobras are blind.
Yeah, they're
like king of monocle. Like they never target like the pit vipers. They just fling.
Yeah. So Cody will feed the bigger blacks, and he'll use his 4-foot tongs, and they'll just kind of come up with their real slow, and they'll push it with their nose, and they'll find the head, and they'll grab it real slow, and then they'll just work it down. And it's like you get more of a food response from a ball python.
Yeah.
That's terrible. But the babies,
psychotic, right?
Yes. They are fly out of as soon as they see something coming into the box, they're fly out at you, heads flat, mouths open. They're a handful. They are a handful. and they're tiny, so it's like trying to, you have to put a small can like under the cage, pull it out. So this way, if it gets out, it ends up on the rim of that, and you can kind of manipulate it into the can. So
yeah. Now, the only thing I can relate that to is like raising up the baby king cobra I have. And just like when he was tiny and small and like under 3 feet long and the size of like pinky, he was psychotic. Now he's super chill, 7 foot, easy to handle.
Yeah.
He's just a big corn snake that hoods when he's in his cage.
So now when you handle, I prefer 2 L hooks. I use 2 L hooks, one's 30 inches, one's 40 inches. What are you comfortable with?
So personally, I'm really comfortable with a single hook, and then I tail. Okay. So I use I have one here. I just use a regular hook.
Okay.
I've got these cool ones that I got from a guy, Carl Parsons, back in California. And it's like squared. So that way
Mm-hmm.
they sit better and then they can't fall out. Whereas like a circle hook, they fall out
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So I prefer that. And then I tail, and then I get comfortable sometimes depending on what snake it is and work it the way that the situation allows.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of tongs when it comes to captive snakes.
Yeah.
I don't like using them. I think it's going to hurt the animal.
Yeah, we don't. I've never. We have Cody has a set that he feeds with, and that he has for emergencies. I think we've used them one time, and that was just to get a hold of. He had to get a good head grab on one of the greens,
Yeah.
Western greens, just to get some shed off the tail. So all he did was put it over the midsection of the snake, and the snake pulled back. He squeezed, grabbed it, and that was it. That was the extent of ever using them. So
Yeah, see, I've only ever used them for catching rattlesnakes, and I've only done it when they're like deep in rocks and they're dens, and I see them, or like I can move in and I just stick it in there and I grab them out. That's the only time I've ever used tongs that have been beneficial. And quite honestly, man, the snakes that I have, I raise every single snake I have. I've had them since they're babies. I've got like a Western Diamondback I've had for 9 years now. Everything I raise from baby. So I get a real good understanding of that individual's personality. And I'm not saying anything any different way, but like a lot of the snakes I have are really mellow and really accustomed to being handled and interacted with. So for the most part, when I'm getting them out, they're not tense. They're not going crazy. They're not striking. They're kind of like, oh, we're getting picked up now. What are you doing? I'm checking you out. You just move them. So
we go through that same process. I've heard Kristen Wiley say that when they're milking. I've heard other people say that you have a rhythm, and you know which snakes do what. I know when I'm at Cody's, there's the Cameroon forest cobra is really mellow. She's really good with me, so I can move her around with two hooks. It's not a big deal. And then I know that both of the two Philippines cobras are nut jobs. That it doesn't matter, if you can get them out of there and get them into the can, without them going berserk, that's great. But you kind of learn the personality. Like you said, you work with them long enough, the personality, what to expect, but you should always expect the obvious unexpected, because you just never know.
Yeah, you never know. A big part of it, how should I say? It's a big part of it that I see is like, if you are in this hobby, you kind of know what you're getting into if you're responsible. Like if you're like, it's never the animal's fault. Usually when people get bit, it's because they messed up. Like if I were to ever, God forbid, not doing it, but if I ever got bit, it's like I messed up. Same thing if I get bit with like non-venomous stuff. It's like, oh, I was stupid. I just held a rat and then picked up a snake. Of course it's gonna bite me. So there is personal responsibility there, but yeah, I mean,
I've tailed some of the annulifera. It's funny that I worked with Cody for probably about a year, maybe a little over a year. And I did the same thing. Before we were an hour. So it was every Saturday or every Sunday, sometimes Saturday and Sunday, get up in the morning, drive out there, spend the day there. But I spent all that time there for a whole year and never once tailed anything. So I think I was one of the first times after about a year, I worked one of the big Bothrops, the big Asper. And I would get her with both hooks and get her kind of coming out, and she'd turn around and go back in. You get that. It's just a circle. It just keeps going. And Cody's like, well, you're going to have to tail this one. He's like, you have the gloves on. He's like, just wait till she goes back in. And he's like, okay, get the tail. And I tailed her and I put her in the can. And I looked at him and he's like, that was the first snake you've ever tailed, isn't it? I was like, yeah. It's kind of nerve wracking. The first snake I tail is like a 7 or 7.5 foot Asper, and it's a big snake. And it's like,
that's the launch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's got the Mugini and the Asper. And as soon as you open those cages, generally they come flying right out. Then they figure out, okay, there's no food. And then it's just, all right, we take their tongs and get the cork bark out of the cage and give you an open space. And it's just, you just have to get them out into the can. But, back to the tailing and, I feel like I say this and some people probably don't believe me. What you choose to do with your animals is your, you, me, anybody. I'm comfortable now with like the annulifera. Some of the stuff I'm comfortable with tailing because it does make it a little bit easier. I mean, they're kind of long, 7, 8 foot snakes that are, call them corn snake size bodies, and they just kind of, I don't know, dopey when they move around.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to get them out, I think, especially out of a rack, it's easier to tail.
Yeah. And
So
I prefer it like with everything. Like I really prefer tailing, and then I prefer getting hands-on with the animals I work with, like not pushing like I'm never gonna put a venomous snake on my arm and let it just sit there. But as far as like advanced handling techniques where you're not using double hooks, or maybe just using one hook, tailing with the snake on the ground but no hook involved, like it's just about reading the snake, and knowing your limits. Like a big part of it is knowing your limits and not to push it. And like you said, you don't want someone to see it and go do it, which is why I'm kind of like hesitant talking about it, even if there's how you can see it. But I don't post that stuff.
So yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm getting to is I think people are smart enough to understand and see where what's the word I'm looking for, where your ability goes to, and how you can talk about your animals. Again, back to what I said before, I'm a huge, I'm very, very outspoken about being against free handling, but it's not the act of free handling, it's the act of putting it on the internet. It's the act of I love these animals. Is it cool that we get to keep some of the most badass animals in the world? Hell yeah. I love when people come over, and I don't have venomous, but when they come over and see that brick red emerald tree boa baby in a nice natural cage, and they're like, oh my God, like that's real. That's a cool feeling. I just think that when you start mixing that, you start bringing into that ego trip, I think that's what hurts. That's what's going to hurt all of us. And again, I love watching, you guys put out great content. I definitely like the double containment, the big outdoor area. I think that's really neat. We've talked about that stuff before, where it's like, how do you do a snake show in Florida with a non-native species so that everybody can see it? Because honestly, if you do it in a building, you're really limiting yourself. Otherwise, it's got to be a huge building. That's a great idea, to have something outside that you can put a table there and put a rattlesnake on and explain to people. If you bring people in there and can get them to see that diamondback isn't going to hurt anybody, maybe that's 1 or 2 snakes a year that you save.
Yeah, people don't care about stuff unless it's in their face. Yeah, and they realize it. But touching back on your comments about free handling and like social media, and like one thing I've been seeing a lot of that maybe someone just getting into the hobby or just like coming across reptile keeping or venomous snake keeping, it's hard to differentiate the difference between someone that has dedicated their entire lives or a large portion of their lives to reptiles because they love reptiles. And then now we're seeing with social media getting mixed into it, people will just be reptile people for the likes. And they're like, oh yeah, if I post a picture of me with a ball python, like they're like girls, for instance, because that's the quickest one I can think of, like ball python with a short skirt, reptile guys are going to like it, double click on it. Or a guy with a venomous snake free handling it, it's like, oh my God, I'll get likes if I just show a king cobra around my neck. And a lot of the time the people posting on like these Facebook groups or Instagram groups have only kept snakes for a year, or that might be their first snake they kept and they got right into venomous, never even kept non-venomous, or never even liked reptiles until they posed for a picture with a friend's animal and then said, oh my God, I can post like this. Yeah. There's a difference between those people and then the people that are genuinely good at it and good at, I hate the term free handling because I associate free handling with you're handling this snake and the only reason that snake's not biting you is because that snake doesn't want to bite you, versus like advanced forms of handling where you're handling, maybe not using tools, but it's your experience keeping you from not getting bit rather than the snake just not simply biting you that day. Whereas people are really good at that, and then they put it on the internet, people can see it, and then it just looks so easy that now you have all these Instagram copycats hopping on there. Yeah. Which comes with everything. I mean,
it does. Listen, it's going to come with, it's like I said before, cars, guns. It comes with every different hobby or group. You're always going to have that there, but to that advanced handling. I think, from talking to a couple people, I know Steve Brazil from Extreme Exotics has a couple big, 14-foot kings. And we've had that conversation where it's like, okay, you really can't hook them.
A hook is more dangerous than that.
Yeah, exactly. You should have one close just in case you need to, I guess I would say, sword fight it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I can see that. It's more to the, let's look at the zoological field and what do they say? And they say don't do it because it's dangerous and it portrays something that we shouldn't be doing. And I know
the issue I have with that is when you go in, if you're going to compare apples to apples, like let's see what AZA says about it. AZA says we shouldn't interact with any animal.
Yeah, exactly. No, so, I understand that. Yeah. What I'm saying is when you talk to a true venomous keeper, and this is my opinion, everybody. So it's my opinion. If you don't like it, I don't care. It's my opinion. I think you have a lot of people that work in a professional field, and I'm one of those. I work in pharma. I may not agree with some of the rules, but I have to follow them. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to go and tell you, well, this is the way it is. I'm going to preface it by saying, I don't really agree with it, but because that guy signs my paycheck, I have to. So I think a lot of your true venomous keepers would side with us and say, yes, there's always going to be that scenario where you may have to. But if you're just pulling a snake out to shake your head around and do all that stuff, that's just macho crap to me. That isn't telling me or showing me anything. If you have your king out and you have it by the tail and you're working it for the camera and showing everybody, that's different. You're educating the public on, look at this animal. I do this way because.
I definitely agree. I think we may be grouping free handling into like a bigger topic.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like, oh, free handling is not good, but like in certain situations. But the situations that, like you said, you don't like are usually the showboating, doing something dangerous for no reason. I guess when I talk about free handling, or handling, advanced handling, even though I'm on YouTube, I don't really think about the social thing of it. I think about like if I'm taking my snakes out and I'm handling them without a hook or tools, it's because I'm doing it because I really enjoy handling snakes and like being around snakes, having them. So I'm just doing it. I'm feeling the way they move, checking out what they're doing, how they react to this. I'm just like in the zone with that animal, which I'm comfortable with that as long as people are knowledgeable. But then to your point, when they're doing it just for the camera and putting themselves in harm's way and others, I stick away from that. That's not what I prefer. I prefer more of the passion side of things.
Yeah. And again, like I said, I think, I think there's guys out there that, they have the passion for it and they honestly don't need to do it. I say it all the time. They don't need to do it. They have the, what's the word? The mantra, the way that they're doing it, their hands, the charisma, the explanation, they're on point. Why add that one more thing just to get somebody to click on the video? You don't have to do that. If you stay true to yourself, your real fans are going to be there.
Yeah.
The empty calorie people that are just looking, oh, is this guy going to get bit? Oh, he didn't. Oh, well.
Unfortunately, on that side of things, just because I'm in the industry for YouTube and I see kind of the analytics and the money that comes in, I see why they do that. If they're going to put a video out and let's just say it gets 10 million views, which some of these channels do get, or even just a million views.
Yeah.
A million views, dude, is like $1,000, $1,200. 10 million views, you're looking at 10 grand off one video. Maybe they free handle, but I could see the allure of that.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be interesting. I've noticed some people have kind of try to shy away from free handling on their channel.
Yep.
And taking it off, which is definitely a good step. I'm curious to see where that step goes when it comes to the business side of things, because one thing with YouTube, it is a business, and it's a very lucrative business for these individuals. So when the numbers start dropping off, I'm curious where things go.
So again, YouTube isn't my thing.
Yeah.
Reptiles isn't my business. I work in pharmaceuticals. So I'm just so everybody knows, that's not code for I sell drugs. Good God. I work in a
street pharmaceutical, right?
Yeah. I work in a dietary supplement plant. I'm the food safety and sanitation manager. Done. I'm the king of garbage. That's my nickname. So because of that, I look at it as you're always trying to, my job is to try to make things better. It's continuous improvement, so it's like, okay, so if I'm going to take free handling away from my videos, the first 10 videos that I put up, I'm going to compare them to my last 10 videos and where am I at? And that analytical side of what you're doing should be happening. Now, here's the thing. If these guys stop doing that and say they lose 25% of their views, well, now they have to figure out, what can I do to get 25% back? Is that collab with somebody else? Is it maybe change the way I'm doing stuff? It could be a million things. Does it mean go back to doing the free handling? No, it just means that it's time to change, because at what point are people going to say, I've had enough. I've seen enough of this. I see you handle, I see Chandler handle the King Cobra all the time. Okay, I've seen it. If you've seen it once, you've seen it twice, big deal. You're past it, So at what point are you going to change it up and do something different to keep those viewers hungry and coming back for more?
Yeah, no, there's definitely ebb and flow and kind of a
Yeah.
balance of that reading analytics, which I'm just curious. I don't know if it's going to be
for sure
where it's going to land. I guess what I have questions about is there's a few things. Like, one, if the views drop off, will they just go back to free handling and making more sensationalized videos, or will these people stick the course, and then will the audience also be like, hey, I like this style of content as well?
Yeah.
And it's not good, not bad. It's just like, where's the audience going? Because right now, I see that the overall YouTube venomous snakes is kind of changing. So it's just an interesting time. That's all it is.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's always going to be growth, and there's always going to be fall off. I think at some point you have to change it up. You can't do the same things all the time. It'll get you to the point where your viewers just, like I just talked about on a live feed last night. I love Brian Barczyk. I've met him. I've hung out with him. I don't care what anybody says about him. Again, my opinion. I like the guy. I brought my daughter Brianna. We sent him an email. We were driving through Michigan. Hey, can we come to your facility? Sure. The expectation for me was he's going to invite us in the front, show us a ball python. Nice to meet you. Have a good day. He brought us in. We met the whole crew. He told us, open up anything you want. It's whatever you want to do. You guys, whatever, you tell me. So it was cool. It was cool to have that kind of interaction with somebody that at that time was doing animal bites, snake bites, whatever it was, the original stuff. Yeah. So, but now that he's doing the vlog, like, it's like, okay, I've seen all this stuff. Yeah, I've seen all this stuff. Like, I watched the first, I think 700 or 800 in a row. Like, I watched every single one, like, ritually. And it was like, okay, I can watch, if I see something that looks like it interests me, something with the retics or something like that, I watch. But, it's like, how do you do it? And he always talks about it. How can I do this to make it better for you? So
that just comes with the industry. I mean, even like, I'm nowhere near that size, but with our channel, it's like everyone comes over like, oh, wow, you guys have so much content here. It's like, yeah, but we've kind of filmed a lot of it. So like, it's even just like where I'm at compared to like where Brian's at. I have no idea how he comes up with content every single day and puts it out. And Brian's an awesome guy. I've talked to him a bunch.
Yeah.
I
don't know how he does it.
Contest.
Oh, nice.
But it's funny you mentioned the animal bites thing. Back when that was going on, I actually sent in a trailer because I was trying to be featured on there. Didn't work out, but he he emailed me back and said what I could improve on. And a lot of the stuff that he told me about is what I've been implementing in the channel now, which has been awesome. He's always a great, like, he's an awesome
yeah. So when we went out there, we were on our way to a paintball tournament, and I ran part of a paintball. I ran a paintball league with a close friend. So we were heading to crew paintball in Flint, Michigan, and we stopped at Shelby. So he had asked, he's like, does it hurt to get shot by a paintball? And I was like, it's not too bad. And he's like, okay, shoot us. And I was like, well, okay. So we had these guys running back and forth, and we were shooting at them with paintball guns. It was so much fun. Like, awesome. You don't even realize, that the people you meet in this industry is great. And like I said, I may get passionate, and we've had conversations. You know how I feel about this stuff. I may get passionate about it, but it's only because I don't want to lose my rights to keep the animals. And honestly, I don't want those people to lose their rights either, because I know they care. But when I hear somebody say something like, it's not going to happen, it's not going to cause that, you don't know what you're talking about, it pisses me off, because yes, I do know what I'm talking about. I was in New York when they did the big snake ban, and I know people that the DEC went to their house, knocked on their door and said, give me your animals, and they confiscated them all. And those people never saw those animals again. So I've seen it happen, and I don't want to see that happen again, and it sucks. It does. It sucks that people can't just say, hey, you know what? I get it. It's not because I can't do it. It's because I shouldn't do it. Do it. If you've got all your buddies over and you're going to do it, whatever, do you, you do you. But when it comes to, I mean, how would you feel if you put this great collection together and you opened up and Fish and Wildlife showed up and said, hey, we got to shut it down because we're changing the law and you can't keep any of this stuff now?
Yeah, no, I'd move that day. But still, like,
exactly. Exactly. But those are the things that we don't realize that could happen. And, you have a beautiful group of animals. And I know Kyle was getting into some corn snakes.
Yeah, he's got 4 corn snakes right now.
So what are your future plans right now? What are you guys, what you got coming up?
We're doing a lot of construction. Right now I'm helping out with on the construction crew as well, building ponds.
Okay.
And we literally we tripled the footprint of the sanctuary. We extended the perimeter fence. Yeah, so it's 3 times as big. We're building 31 new ponds out of the heat pile, and then remodeling all the ponds inside the current perimeter fence, redoing the entire greenhouse, building another side area that Kyle will talk about because it's his project.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then going to be building hopefully a gift shop and getting the whole sanctuary going, which is it's a big project, man. We've got a lot of cool stuff planned. Personally, I've got all the snake stuff. I do plan on getting it back into breeding a little more heavily with some non-venomous species to be in.
That's cool.
And then maybe getting back into the reptile expo circuit, because I used to do that in California, and that's how I met a lot of my reptile friends. So definitely going to jump back into that down here.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's I think where everybody cuts their teeth, and I mean, it's an interesting time. I mean, I think you've met my wife and my kids, and they pretty much, we do everything together. We saw you guys at Crocfest, and, Christian, I was kind of bummed that he left because he was close to here. And my daughter worked in the gift shop at Wild Florida, and she called me one day and said, hey, Christian's free right now. He said to come on out, and he took me for a tour. I got some pictures with the albino alligators, the big ones. And, the big alligator, I was right in the pen with him. So I love Christian, I had a blast. Yeah. So, it's great to see people, it's good to see good people getting ahead, and that's great. I think he's a great add to your team, and, it's fun watching you guys' videos and seeing what Kyle's doing. And, I know that it's gotta be, just working with Cody and seeing the small scale that he's working on right now. What the amount of space, I don't know how you guys do it. That's a lot of real estate, buddy.
We've got over 300 animals, 400 animals probably on property. Just a rough count. I mean, just in the snake room, I don't know, there's probably 50, 60, and then you got 150 crocs, you got tortoises, you got all the other stuff that's being added on, lizards,
Wow.
all the tegus, probably 100 tegus still.
Yeah,
So
those
maybe more than 300.
those came out of nowhere. One day I
Yeah,
see a video pop up. I'm like, tegus?
Yeah, that was not planned at all. So there was a guy, unfortunately, passed away. That was a tegu breeder. It was like a heart attack or something. I don't know the details, but it was sudden. It wasn't like an old guy.
Unexpected,
He was
yeah.
in his 30s. And left, like when he died, the person taking care of the tegus was his elderly dad, who was literally just going to let them all go. He didn't want to deal with it. There was 100 and something adults and 300 babies in the incubator, and he was gonna be done with it. And so when we started talking to him, it was like, oh no, don't do that. Like, we're gonna come, we'll help you out. There's a lot of people that are trying to get like little pieces of it, and you know how people are when opportunity presents itself. A lot of people are gonna try to take advantage of that.
Blood in the water.
Yeah, so I wasn't really involved in the whole deal of it. But basically Kyle came in there and said, hey, I'll give you this price, which is fair, based off what the value of everything is. And I'll take it all off your hands, one full sweep. You don't have to deal with anything else. And his dad was very appreciative of that, because then he had to go through selling 10 things to 100 people. It was literally just, here, you take everything.
Yep. Yeah. And that's awesome. That's great that Kyle did something like that for somebody. I mean, think about the stress already of losing a loved one, and now you've got to deal with all these animals and
losing your son.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, Ryan, it was great. I know you probably got a lot going on. I love having you on. I like chatting with you. I think you guys bring a lot to what we're doing here in Florida, and I hope at the end of the day that everybody sees these videos and they take a little bit away from it, and then we'll get better and better, and maybe Fish and Wildlife will start to look at us as an elite group of people that they can turn to help with this stuff, instead of just slamming us. So
yeah, no, I hope so. I mean, I have no issues working with Fish and Wildlife or anything like that. Even our officers come. I'm on a first name basis with all those guys in Tallahassee, because I call them literally once a week, and I just just for something new. It always comes up. When I was getting my anaconda permit, I think I called them like 60 times.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
A noisy part of the wheel.
Yep, 100%. You have to. If you're known and you're positive, I think it's a good thing. I talk to my inspector that'll be here in St. Cloud all the time, and Damon's really cool. So it's nice. Damon Saunders.
Okay, I have John Booth. We had Gabe first, and he was really good. John's super nice.
Yeah, I've talked to Gabe in Tallahassee a bunch of times too.
Oh, Gabe switched to Impact Division. We had Eric. Eric was our field inspector. Gabe was our captive wildlife. Gabe switched and Eric switched. Now we have John, and I don't know. Have you talked to anyone in the captive wildlife division in Tallahassee? Do you know who's
just Clint? All I've talked to is Clint Deskins. Okay. Huh. He was, I think, he's the one that graded my venomous exam.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think he does the class 1 crocodilian stuff, and I believe he does some of the, well, obviously he grades the exams. So, but other than that, I talked to Gabe a few times. Over that, nobody really, no other people really.
Yeah, because there's Gabe and Allison that run the Impact Division. They do all the there. Captive used to be Gabe and Kelly Smith. Kelly Smith works in captive wildlife still. But
I've heard that name. Yeah, I've heard that name. So I think Cody's talked to her.
Yeah, so they're all really nice. A lot of them are just doing their job, not super like reptile heavy people. They're just in the more like law enforcement side of things. Yeah. But I just talked to them, and you're just cool with them. I've had nothing but good experiences with everyone.
Yeah. Oh, me either. It's been all my interactions have been really good, so I've heard other people say, oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's like, well, what did you do? I didn't do anything. Well, okay. Yeah. I mean, come on. You had to have said or done something, or, you kind of get that wild hair in your butt where you're, this is, I know the rules, and it's like, oh no, I may know what it says, but they're the ones that are enforcing it. So,
yeah, I guess coming from California, even if you follow the rules, if you're not if you don't get along with them, they can still say no, and you're gonna have a
Exactly.
tough time.
Exactly. So why don't you go ahead and plug yourself? Where can everybody find you? What do you got going on YouTube?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's just my handle is Ryan Gradney. You can find our page that we do is Primitive Predators on Instagram, Primitive Predators on YouTube, and on TikTok.
Oh, nice. TikTok. I'm afraid of TikTok, so
I'm not super active on there. Unfortunately, we do post a lot, and TikTok's like a weird thing. Like we've got quite a bit of followers on there. It's actually our biggest platform, but we don't post it. Like we've got like 600,000 on there.
Jesus.
But like I don't know. That's one I'm still learning. Still trying to learn with that platform.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm old. Yeah. I'm old. So I'll put all that stuff down below. And Ryan, again, thanks for coming on. And I'm sure Aiden would love the fact that you have the same chair as he has. So
for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's his like love right now is gaming, and he's doing the whole Twitch thing. So
there you go.
But yeah, man, it was great having you on again, and tell Kyle we said what's up, and hopefully we get together soon.
Sounds good. Will do, man. Thanks for having
me. All right, brother. Have a great night.
All right, see ya.